Hello and welcome to Celebrating Simple Life. I'm Kimberly and I've been planning parties and incredible events for the past 15 years. I'm passionate about connecting people, making gatherings purposeful, and making the most out of every moment. Join me as we learn together how to find joy, celebrate the simple things in life, use events to grow your business, entertain with purpose, and have a whole lot of fun along the way. Cheers to Celebrating Simple Life. I could not be more excited to let you know that Shine Summit tickets are now available. Shine Summit takes place October 1st, 2020. So you have lots of time to reflect, think about how this event might be exactly what you have been looking for. This is going to be a day that will change your life. If you are an entrepreneur or a leader in your industry, maybe you're dreaming of making changes in your life, you will not want to miss this opportunity. When you take time to invest in you, your business, it affects all the areas in your life. It benefits your family, your community, and all the relationships around you. I am literally so passionate about connecting people in ways that help them grow, and this Shine Summit is the perfect opportunity for that. I have experienced firsthand how investing in myself and in my business by attending an event such as this can absolutely change the trajectory of your life, because it has happened to me. Here's why this is powerful. Life is hard. Business is hard. And some days it honestly doesn't take much to feel like everything is going in a chaotic direction. And what is the point of putting in all of the work and effort that running a business and being a leader within your organization takes? But I'm here to tell you that Shine Summit will not only inspire you and give you all of the feels, you guys, but this Shine Summit is going to give you hands-on, tangible tools that will help directly take your life and your business to the next level. Being surrounded by like-minded individuals and those who have been in their entrepreneurial and business journeys longer than maybe you have is absolutely essential. Hearing from them, hearing their stories, hearing their mistakes, and how they're willing to share their experiences, vulnerability, and really try to help you avoid those same mistakes. We have experts from all over that are going to be coming to share their expertise and to grow together. You will be blown away by our headliner, Sarah Heron. Isn't that the girl from The Bachelor? Why, yes, it sure is. Sarah is a force to be reckoned with, and she has taken her experience of being on a public television show and putting her story out there in the world and taking her disability that she was born with and turning it into something extraordinary. She has an incredible story, an incredible business sense, and she is such an inspiring woman. And you get to hang out with her and be inspired. This summit has been created to surround you with a community of incredible women who will challenge you, help you grow and thrive, and we want to see you there. Imagine the energy, joy, and engaging lessons that you get to be a part of and incorporate those directly into your life and business in ways that are specifically tailored to you. We will be talking about leadership, marketing, social media, overcoming adversity, reinventing your business in new and unique ways. This is not the type of conference where you are just going to hear speeches and leave with a few notes. If you are struggling in finding your niche, to sell more, to organize your finances, or maybe you're even afraid to admit the things that you wish you understood in business, then this is the place for you. This is a summit where you will be challenged to be interactive, to dig deeper in order to achieve the goals that you are dreaming of. Shine Summit is being hosted in the most beautiful event space where everyone attending is there for the same purpose, to shine. These tickets are going to sell out fast, and as a listener of Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast, you are the first to know. Check out shinecollective.ca for all the juicy details. The continued support, ratings, reviews, and sharing screenshots of podcast episodes that were engaging for you on your Instagram stories and tagging friends that you think should hear the episode too makes me so happy. I'm striving to connect stories of business and life in the Celebrating Simple Life community of amazing women. Today on Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast, I'm chatting with country music artist Tenille Arts. Born and raised right here in Saskatchewan, Tenille lives in Nashville and is making her mark in the world in a big way. I first met Tenille a few years ago at a Cystic Fibrosis Charity Benefit in Weyburn. Her musical talent was off the charts, and her support for cystic fibrosis at a national level has helped build so much awareness and raise funds. She accepted our invitation to sing at the SOAR for Cystic Fibrosis Events in 2018 and 2019, and Cassidy even had the opportunity to sing with her, which was a dream come true for Cass. Her appearance as the musical guest on the reality TV show The Bachelor caught her a recording deal with Reviver Records out of Nashville. She has since made a second appearance on The Bachelor and just announced her third appearance coming up this January 2020 on the newest season, which of course I will be throwing an epic viewing party for. She has been praised for her moving songs and was named one of the 2018 artists to watch out for by popculture.com. A few months ago in September, she had a dream come true where she made her Grand Ole Opry debut in the iconic theater in Nashville. Her sophomore album, Love, Heartbreak, and Everything in Between, was just announced and will be available in January. She is absolutely lovely, genuine, and kind, and I am so proud to know her. Tune in today to hear all about Tenille's start in the music industry, how she manages being in the public eye, and how she is still a country Saskatchewan girl at heart. Stay tuned. Thanks so much for being on the show today.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
This is so fun, hanging out in your dressing room here in Saskatoon.
This is awesome. I'm so glad we could hang out.
We love having you in Saskatoon.
Thank you.
So you and I first initially met through the world of cystic fibrosis.
Yeah.
I had come to an event in Weyburn, your hometown, and heard you at a fundraising event that a family puts on in Weyburn, and was blown away. I hadn't heard of you before that, and it was such an awesome introduction to seeing you, because here's small town Weyburn girl doing something amazing.
Oh, thank you. I love performing in my hometown, and I wish I could do it more now, because I feel like it's like all of the shows back home are so spread out now.
Totally.
But I'm so glad that CF event brought us together.
I know, me too. So then we had the opportunity to bring you in a couple times for our SOAR for Cystic Fibrosis events in Moose Jaw, and everyone to this day, I get messages all the time about, when are we doing this again? When are we doing this again? Is Tenille going to be the one coming back? Because I really think she should be.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, you are a hit across the province and the world. So we're so proud to have this Saskatchewan representation internationally.
Oh, thank you.
So I wanted just to hear just a little bit about your story of how you kind of got into the world of music and how you made your way from little Weyburn to Nashville.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's like something that a lot of my listeners we talk a lot on the podcast about entrepreneurship and growing a business and celebrating moments in life and using events to grow your business, as I'm an event planner and that's what I do for a living. But I feel like when you see somebody, especially the public eye, your story is out there, so there's nothing really that you're able to like hide from that.
Yeah.
It's always so interesting to know how this began and what the steps were from loving to sing to doing what you're doing today.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's kind of a long journey, I guess, but I always, just growing up, loved music. I mean, there's videos of me on my first birthday, and my mom's trying to get me to blow out my candles, and I'm like humming and singing happy birthday, and she's like, all she wants to do is sing. She literally says that. So I think it was just in me from a really young age. And then thankfully around the age 8, a neighbor overheard me singing in my backyard.
Come on.
Yeah, just like belting out a Shania Twain song or something. Like little 8-year-old me probably singing like, man, I feel like a woman or something. Yeah. But yeah, she thought I had a great voice and told my mom that she should do something with it. And so my mom literally just was like, okay, let's go put you in voice lessons. And thank goodness my mom was so like in tune with that and actually could do that. I'm very thankful that my parents were like, yeah, anything you want to do, let's do it.
Right. They weren't like, stop singing, this is a crazy idea.
No, yeah, they were always like, let's go for it. And yeah, like I started, kind of doing karaoke style stuff, just singing out anywhere I could, all kinds of covers. And then that turned into, at age 13, 14, picking up the guitar, wanting to be able to accompany myself. I played piano a little bit, but that's not very easy to pull around to different shows. So I wanted to learn guitar. And so I started learning guitar, and that led to songwriting, because it was just kind of like during those teenage years where, you're like, you think you're in love with the boy and things like that. So instead of, talking to friends or family about stuff like that, I wrote it into songs. And I was a very like quiet, kind of reserved teenager. So it was very nice to have that outlet. And I just continued to work. I knew I wanted to go down to Nashville. So 15 years old, I was found on my YouTube channel by a manager.
Wow.
Yeah. And he called our house, somehow got our house number, and was like, can you come down to Nashville? My parents were totally freaked out by the whole thing.
Like, is this a scam? Is someone just like...
Yeah, it was, we were kind of like, My dad was totally against it at first, but then we talked to them more, and we went on Skype. Like, it was like, we actually kind of knew each other before I went down there. And yeah, my first trip to Nashville was almost 10 years ago today. Like, it's almost to the date. And I just started songwriting, getting in the room with a lot of different people, started recording. All of it was very new to me back then. And after I graduated high school, I was like, the place for me is Nashville. Right. So I spent some time at home, saved up, and kept going back and forth to Nashville, 2-week writing trips, and ended up signing a publishing deal, which was what got me to Nashville full-time.
Right.
So I could write songs full-time. And then that led to my publisher wanting to release music that I had been writing. He was like, I can't hear anybody else singing these songs. I think these are yours. Let's go record them. So thankfully he believed in me enough and kind of like became my investor, really. Started a label for me. I started releasing music that way. And then this past year we partnered with a label.
Wow.
So it's like, that's from beginning to right now.
Yeah, that's like a crazy 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, lifetime, I guess, but 10 years of that. Wow, that is just amazing. Did you, in young Tenille's mind, did you think, like, was this always what you wanted? Like, once you started singing and knew that you could sing, were you always like, I'm going to be a star?
Yeah. I always was like, I would practice in the mirror, like, winning awards. And, like, I would be, this was just, like, what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on stage and to sing songs for people.
I love that.
Unfortunately, I had a lot of stage fright for, like, a lot of my life. So that was a very tough thing to overcome. I feel like I'm still overcoming it, but luckily it hasn't held me back too much, and I've been able to get through it.
Like, slowly each time it just is like another experience to broaden what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally.
Yeah, it's like kind of, it really is just the more you do it, the more comfortable.
Well, and that's kind of how it is with anything that you're scared of, right? Yeah, you just kind of have to do it. That's what I always talk to my daughters about too, is exactly that. One of whom would love to be a celebrity. And when she says, Mom, I'm going to be a superstar someday, you just sit there and smile and nod, and we're the same way as what your mom's saying, supporting and doing it. But you're like, oh, I don't want your dreams to be crushed, little lady.
Yeah.
But here you are, living the dream.
Yeah.
Holiday season can feel so full, even with so many amazing things on the go. It just sometimes feels like too much. As a working mom, I often struggle to find the time and balance to cook healthy, home-cooked meals that will fuel my family and myself and not leave me feeling overwhelmed. It takes a lot of time to plan, shop, prep, and cook healthy dinners. I'll admit, I was skeptical when I signed up for the Good Food Box. I had tried out a promo code that I had seen online, and I told myself I would just try one box to check it out. Well, 6 weeks later, I am hooked. From the first step of clicking to order and then receiving the fresh ingredients and step-by-step recipes, it has all been seamless and easy. My mind has been cleared from the daily struggle of what's for dinner and knowing that my meals will arrive on my doorstep each week unless I choose to skip a delivery, which, by the way, I can do as often as I want. We will be away for a little bit over Christmas, and I've already been able to skip the weeks that I need to, and I've skipped a few until the new year so that I'm ready to go. You can even cancel your subscription at any time. There's really no risk. There are so many recipe suggestions, or you can make it even easier, and I just let the team at Good Food decide what meals are going to come to me each week. They're curated, delicious, restaurant quality meals, and the best part is that my daughter, Cassidy, who's 11, has been able to make a lot of the meals by herself. I have come home after a day at work, and she has been able to follow the amazing, colorful, easy to follow recipe cards and instructions. I cannot say enough good things about the Good Food box. And as a special offer for Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast listeners, you can get $40 off your first box. Click the link in the show notes to receive your discount code and make the most of your time this holiday season. $40 off your first Good Food box with the link in the show notes. Cheers to celebrating today.
So what would you say in I guess even just the 10 years of kind of going back and forth and feeling like you have multiple homes and multiple places since you're from Canada, living in Nashville, what is the hardest part about living the life in the public eye, I guess, for one thing, and having everything about you everywhere? I can imagine also might take something to get used to, especially if you're saying you're an introvert.
Yeah.
What's the hardest part about what it is that you do? Because everybody only sees the great parts.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been difficult on like the personal life side of just being away from family. That is a sacrifice that you have to make, because just because you have a dream doesn't mean that your whole family's going to pack up and move with you. Honestly, that's why I didn't move to Nashville sooner, because my mom was like, we're just not willing to separate our family because we wouldn't be able to all move down to Nashville. So it's been a struggle just to keep those relationships, and sometimes I will go a month realizing, I haven't talked to that person in an entire month. I mean, that's crazy. But then just like I was in a long distance relationship for a while, and that was crazy and probably not good for me. So there's definitely been a few sacrifices along the way.
Live and learn,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, you and your mom are so close, right?
Yeah.
So I can imagine that's sort of always trying to figure out how to stay connected. I mean, thank goodness for technology.
I know.
Right?
I know. Honestly, I've been so busy this past month, I realized I hadn't FaceTimed my mom in a week. And that for me is very crazy, because we at least talk once a day. So
I love that. That's like relationship goals for
my
daughters. I think I actually said that to your mom at one of the events that we were at. I was like, you and Tenille are like relationship goals for me and my baby someday. So what would you say in the 10 years plus of your career that has been sort of one or some of the more memorable things that have happened to you, or maybe people that you've met or experiences that have happened that you couldn't even have thought were going to happen, that just came about and you're like, oh my goodness, this is my life?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those goals I've reached within the past year and a half. So it's everything else has just been leading up to it. And it's tough because sometimes you feel like you're not making any progress if you don't meet those goals. But for me, it's I've always been told to trust the process. These things will come when they're meant to come. So in the past year, I've performed on The Bachelor for the second time.
That was going to be my next question. Continue on this question, and we'll go into that after.
Okay. I got to perform the Canadian National Anthem at the NBA Finals.
Yes, that is so cool.
Thank you. That was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. I told my manager I did not want to sing any anthems anywhere, and he called me with that opportunity, and I was like, well, I'm an idiot if I don't take it.
How do you say no to this?
So that whole day, I was just
well, and it was probably super last minute too,
yeah,
right? Because the games, you don't know what's happening day to day.
Yeah, I think I knew about maybe a week before. Okay. So maybe even like 5 days, but just that whole day, like trying to mentally be in the right place to go out there and know this is live television. Well, this is the anthem.
There were some big names that were performing there too, right? I can imagine that would be pretty intimidating.
There's big names and like that. We can talk about this a little bit later, but that was my first time dealing with criticism. So that was a really interesting thing, which I was upset about for about an hour. And then after that, I was like, screw it. These people can't take this away from me. So there was that. And then this past year, I also got to perform in the Grand Ole Opry.
Yes, I was sure that was going to be one thing that came up. Yeah. That is wild. Yeah. We had the pleasure of touring through the Grand Ole Opry and visiting Nashville last year for the first time. And when I saw the announcement that you were going to be there and could picture and had been in the scenario and seen exactly what this was, I was like, I always feel like I come at this like thinking about your mom on this end too, like my mom had on, being like, like seeing your baby up in this iconic stage, iconic artists, and just so much history there. Man. I can't imagine how much your heart must have just been bursting at that.
I was freaking out. Like I was obviously nervous just to do the performance, but it's almost like you just get into game mode and you think, okay, you know what, like I'll deal with the emotions of it afterwards. And I literally, so my mom, I could see her from the audience crying before I had even like done anything.
You're like, pull it together, Mom.
So she's crying, and then I kept it together really well, and then I went backstage and it was just kind of like after the performance, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just did that. And I started bawling. I've never done that before. I don't know what happened, but like my boyfriend was back there and I like gave him a hug and he was just like, you did it. And I was like, oh my God, I did it. Like I couldn't really like process it before. But yeah, that was one of the really cool moments.
Yeah, I can imagine that's going to be up there for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we're going to dig into a few things. One, I wanted to follow up on what you were talking about the criticism and things like that. I think that is something as women, first of all, doesn't matter what your industry is or what it is, there is, anytime you are putting anything out on social media, whether you are very in the public eye or you're just a regular person dealing with their life and you're deciding to, social media is a vulnerable thing.
It is.
Media is a vulnerable thing. So what did you do in that hour that you said specifically that was just the time where you were like feeling crushed? How do you talk yourself through that instead of letting something super fabulous, and there's probably 1 million fabulous things that happened that day leading up even to that experience, and then one thing or a few things can just turn everything sideways, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wow, I'm the worst. I'm not worthy of this.
Yeah.
Nobody likes me. Right? I can imagine that's what's going to, because everybody thinks that sometimes, right?
Yeah, so for me, like, I thought I did great. Like, I was excited. I was like, I couldn't.
We were like hearts racing at home as if we were right there with you.
Thank you. I mean, I knew that, so I talked with my managers before the performance, and we had talked about I could sing the anthem more like an opera singer does. I mean, that anthem doesn't do a whole lot of anything.
That's right.
Or they said you can take it and make it your own a little bit, and you know, people will talk. They'll either love it or you're gonna get people that love it and you're gonna get people that hate it. But at least people are talking.
Yeah.
So I chose to go that direction.
Which seems so much more authentic to you, right?
It definitely is. Like so people were saying like you shouldn't sing the anthem, you know, any differently, which I really didn't change it up as much as people made it sound.
No. They clearly have too much time on their hands.
Yeah. So my like initial thought, like when I was going to talk to media about the backlash, was just like, why are people upset? Like if you sing the anthem with pride, it shouldn't matter how you sing it. I mean, if you've got a little kid butchering the words, but they're belting it out. Like, I mean, isn't that what it's all about?
Patriotic nonetheless.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was kind of like my response to it. But people on social media right after I performed, it was all negative. So you know that people who are in their basements probably, not doing much with their own lives. They love to go on social media and say things, and the NBA fans were just something I was not expecting.
Right.
First of all, they're not country music fans, so they don't understand my voice. People are like, she's yodeling. I'm like, no, I'm not yodeling. That's definitely, no, that's not what's happening, but thank you. And then, yeah, people were they were upset that I sang the new words. And I was like, well, that's technically the correct words.
Yeah. Because you would have probably gotten backlash had you not sang the new words.
Yeah.
Right?
And I looked back, like, even Alessia Cara had just performed the week before I did, and she sang the new words and didn't get any backlash from it. And she, like, I had people being like, you should have had the crowd sing it like Alessia Cara did. I was like, well, there's a difference. She was in Toronto and I was in the United States. If I would have held the mic up to the crowd, people would have done nothing.
That's right.
So it's so funny that people just like immediately want to say all of these negative things. And at first, all I saw was negativity on my page. And then I was upset, obviously. Like, I think I cried because I was just like, what do I do now? But the thing that turned everything around was about an hour into that, people that I didn't know were like coming to my defense. They were going crazy, being like, this was awesome. Like, you don't even know the Canadian anthem. Like, you know, so I think what made me smile about it was that there were people out there like willing to go to bat for me.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm still extremely proud of it. So even those people can, and I went and sang the exact same version at a Saskatchewan Rough Rider game, and people loved it.
Of course they did.
So it's just like, come on, people. Yeah.
I know. And you know what? It's one of those things where I think that you kind of just have to keep that conversation going, because everybody in some capacity, my children are on Instagram and they already experience some of these things in a very different way, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's talking about it and knowing who your people are and who's got your back that can turn that into an hour of sadness instead of a year of sadness.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to come out again and feel like I'm going to get shamed for what I'm doing. So turning this around to something really fun and exciting, you performed on The Bachelor.
Yes.
How did that experience come about?
Oh my gosh. Well, this year,
you did
January,
twice, right? Yes.
January was the second time, January 2019. And so the first time I was on the show, I was an independent artist, and my manager had some connections in the TV world, and so he just started sending my music out to different people, looking for different opportunities. And The Bachelor was, one of the producers was like, I love her, can we have her on the show? Like, let's make this work. So I sent in like some songs that, and one of them kind of sounded like I wrote it for The Bachelor. Like, it was,
absolutely.
So I ended up performing last year on the show, and then they asked me to come back this year. But the funny thing about this year was I sang a love song and a breakup song, and they cut the love song and kept the breakup song, which was strange. It was my single, so they were probably trying to help me out and be like, let's get this out to the world more. Right. But yeah, it was definitely weird. And then but the song got out there to millions of people, and nobody had a problem with it being a breakup song. So that was good. And it actually kind of ended up, you know, the girl left the show, and it was so weird because the song is called I Hate This, and under her breath she was like, I hate this, I hate this. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. And the first time I was on the show, when I sang Moment of Weakness, people said the words moment of weakness like 18 times. It was the strangest
Classic
thing.
Bachelor.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening? Yeah.
Have you watched The Bachelor prior to having, like, is that something that that you knew about and were like, oh yeah, I've watched seasons of The Bachelor Yeah, okay.
I liked the show a lot. Had some viewing parties every once in a while. I was more into it, like, years previous, like when I was actually at home and able to watch the show. Yeah, now totally. I'm like, I haven't really been keeping up.
Too busy to tune in.
But yeah.
Well, it's funny because we host fun parties. It's like we use it as our therapy.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than therapy.
Exactly.
And we hang out and we like have little theme parties. We've even traveled to a few places that happen to be on, like we're going on vacation anyways. And we're like, oh, we're going to go here. And we've run into like random like people off the show, which even our kids get into it, which is super hysterical. Yeah. But no, that's so great. So how did the experience of having your show or your song on the show change sort of directions in your career? Like, was that monumental for you to have that on the show?
Yeah, I mean, well, the first time I was independent, and that actually led to me signing with Reviver Records. Yeah, so I did like a viewing party of the episode in Nashville, and before the episode aired, I did like a 30-minute kind of showcase, I guess, and we invited a bunch of label people and media and all kinds of things, and one of those people that came were from Reviver Records.
Wow.
And so I ended up going in and pretty quickly signing with them, and they put me out on the road on radio tour before we even picked a single. Like, that's pretty unheard of for a label to be that active with a new artist, like right off the bat. Sometimes they get put on a wait list for like 2 years down the road. So I was very thankful for that.
That's flattering.
Yeah.
Well, and this is a perfect example. I often in my industry with events, I use events, I put on events for business owners to help grow their business. And this is a perfect example of how having an event can do magical things.
Exactly.
In your life, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I want to just ask you a few personal questions, not too personal, just to get to know like what Tenille does on like a day-to-day basis, because that's what people always want to know, like the real scoop. Yeah, we see everything on social media about the guests that I have on the show, but like what do they do normal day to day? Are they just a normal person? So I have a few questions. Okay, so what would be one thing that you do in the morning on a regular basis that would be something that starts like the tone for your day? Do you have like a regular habitual routine that you do to start, or is each day just its own bird?
Every day is different for me. I'm like, some days I am up at 6 a.m., I'm ready to go, and then some days I'm like, I'm in bed till 11. So for me, it just depends on the day, because I don't have like a Saturday, Sunday off. It's like Saturday, Sundays are usually
You're not working
busy.
a 9 to 5.
Yeah, so I just kind of get random days off, and I'll literally like try to do nothing during those days. So every day is completely different.
Well, that's good. Hey, that's fair. There's something to be said about being free as a bird.
Yeah.
Are you a coffee drinker?
So I do drink coffee, but not on show days.
Okay.
Yeah, it helps keep the nerves away. If I have too much coffee, I get like jittery. And it's more difficult to control my voice, I guess.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What's your coffee order?
Oh my gosh, I usually just get like an iced coffee.
Oh, I guess I was going to say even in the winter, but I guess winter here, winter in Nashville,
yeah,
iced coffee year
pretty much. But if I wasn't, I would probably get like a chai tea latte or something.
Okay, something with a little spice to it.
Yeah.
That's good. What is something that you always have in your purse?
Lipstick. I've got probably like 4 different kinds of lipstick in my bag at all times.
And your favorite brand?
MAC.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Your makeup always looks so great. Do you do your own makeup?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, you're very talented.
Thank you. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I used to be one of those kids like that would put YouTube videos on and like try all of the ridiculous trends.
Like just you're patient enough to like just work through them. Good girl. What is one thing that you do to either unwind or relax, or something that like helps protect your mental health, just to like keep you feeling good with all of the pressures and things coming at you every day?
Oh my gosh. To like chill out, I like to like have a glass of wine, take a bath, like watch Netflix.
Right.
Like it's just kind
out.
of zone out. I don't like, I'm really bad at answering my phone like on days like that when I just need like, you know, downtime. And I like to just kind of shut it off or hang out with friends, because I find that for me, even though I do like quiet time, sometimes it's good for me to just like hang out with friends and talk about everything but music, you know? Like it's just kind of get away from that, and any stress that's coming from that, just get away from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can imagine that takes up most of the space in your world. So
Yeah.
you just want to talk about everything else. What are you watching on Netflix right now?
Ooh. So I started watching, what is this thing called? I'd have to look it up. I've got my phone right here. So there's a lot of good stuff on Netflix right now. I'm a huge fan of like murder documentaries, which it sounds ridiculous because I'm absolutely terrified of like scary movies and everything like that, but somehow I find myself watching murder shows, so there's that.
Just by yourself.
Yeah.
Not.
Oh my God, there's so many. Like, I can't even find an example.
I'm rewatching The Office on Netflix right now.
Classic.
Right?
I have rewatched that. I've listened to a podcast about it.
I just started listening to that too.
The like Office Ladies
Yes,
or
The
something
Office
like
Ladies.
that. I was
Totally.
like, this is great because this is all the behind the scenes stuff that I
is.
need.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
loving that too. That's so awesome.
But
So one last question. What would be like one piece of advice for listeners, maybe somebody who like dreams of doing something amazing in their life and are trying to figure out how to either get the gumption to do it or the courage and feeling like they need to like remove what other people think around them? What would be something that resonates with you that maybe you think of on a regular basis that you could leave them to set them on their day today, wherever they're listening?
So I have this quote that I think the movie's called We Bought a Zoo, and it's a really, really cute movie. But I don't know, I was watching it, and this quote just like made me think so much about my life, and it was, sometimes all it takes is just 20 seconds of insane courage. Oh. So me being like a very shy person, sometimes when it comes to meeting new people, I would literally have to be like, 20 seconds of insane courage, just do it. Right. And I would just force myself into situations that I'm uncomfortable with, and it has done amazing things for my life.
Clearly. I love that. That's such a great quote.
Thanks.
I'm gonna be using that. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. You are just a gem, and I am just so proud of all of the things that you are doing and the way that you're putting our little Saskatchewan on the map in this world. And so proud to know you. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Thank you. I love you so much. This is awesome.
This show would not be possible without you, my incredible listeners. It would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to Celebrating Simple Life wherever you listen to podcasts. If you really want to make my day, leave a review. Each week, I will pick one review that will be read on the show, and the person who left that review will receive a special gift from me. Cheers to Celebrating Simple Life.